with me. Walk with me.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting for Monday, August 5th. I can now call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Schultz.
Here.
Latta.
Here.
Cruz.
Here.
Hallbaker.
Here.
Ganfield.
Here.
Chrisman.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
All members present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And if willing and able, could everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. And we'll look for a motion to approve the agenda or approve the minutes for regular city council meeting of July 15th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded, and all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, any agenda revisions?
I have no agenda revisions, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And we will now move to public forum. Most speakers will have 1 minute or one opportunity to speak for up to 5 minutes on topics relevant to city business. Is there anyone here from the public that would wish to speak tonight? Just name and city, please, Rosemary. It's wonderful to see you.
Good evening, Rosemary Beach, Western Home Community. I haven't been here for a while. You all look bright and shiny faces and in your places. Thank you. I'm glad to see you all. The thing that I want to talk to tonight, I'm out walking around in my neighborhood, and I consider Prairie Parkway my neighborhood. And I walked the other day, and I considered that they don't have sidewalks everywhere, of course. And so, since I'm walking slowly, and since cars really do go over their energy point and don't pay attention, and you have 2 lanes coming at you as fast as you can and 2 lanes behind you, if you want to get across Prairie Parkway, you have to look for the end of an island. You have to go in the I don't know what you call that list space is, but you have islands out there. Are you with me? Okay, so you have to go through there to get to the other side. Well, that's a long way. That's a 4-lane to get across there. And the other morning I got honked at, and I was completely discombobulated and cross. And I thought if I could run fast enough, I'd knock on their back window because I couldn't make it across there. So now I'm stuck in the middle of 2 islands going the wrong direction on the street that I want to go. And if you get on one side, you go so far, and that's the end of a sidewalk, just the end. And then you need to go, you've got to get to an intersection. If you're going to go further out to all the new buildings, you need a way to get there. And so now I'm out in the street, and now I'm watching for traffic coming behind me and in front of me again, and they don't really care that I'm there. And they do not hook up from the top of Western Homes, new group. They don't hook up reasonably. So if you come to an empty space you could get across, not necessarily is anything over there you can get up and over the dirt, get up and over where the grass is to get to the sidewalk. It is not a good thing for people of my age and ability anymore. And so when I see that you're going to look at the other end of Prairie Parkway, I thought maybe we could get something like a little more signage of speeding and the availability of maybe where we're crossing across through that little space between idling. Maybe you have little foot tracks or something that warn people that say, people are going to be walking across there if they're going to get to the other side of the street. There's no other way to do it except if you walk in the street, either against traffic or with traffic, to get to an end where you're safe. It really is nobody paid attention when they put the outings and innings and how you get in and out of this place and get across to all those new buildings and all those new apartment houses. And it's a great walking area. It's wonderful. It's shaded. It's lovely. But it is kind of terrifying when you get out in it and you're suddenly without any sidewalk. You have to go across, you have to step down into the street, you have to watch for 3 cars because you can have at least 3 cars coming at you just like crazy, maybe 4, or going the other way. And it is not conducive to old people. So I'm simply saying I wish you would ask a city somebody to go out there and just see what's happening and how it could be more in safety for people who want to cross that road or want to go out there. As you get further down, you've just got nothing but sidewalk and whatever. But the getting ins and getting outs, especially now with the new group of Western home people that have built on that, so we have a lot more traffic up at the top of that. And of course, you've got a curve at the bottom, which is below, so you've got to look at cars down here. You've got to look at the cars swinging around coming this direction. So I could tell you that 12 different times, but it's all the same stuff, is that I would appreciate it of a city person who takes care of those kind of things might go out and just monitor and see how to make an area safer for people to get across. And maybe it's just a few signs, you know, drive slowly on the road or something, I don't know, but to remind them they are not on a racetrack out there. They are, and I know they're going to work or coming home, and they are. But anyhow, that's my want for a while. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you.
And anyone else for public comment tonight? Just name and city, please.
Kim Jensen Jordan, Cedar Falls. And public comment, I'm not sure if you've already talked about the site for the high school, but one of the things that I've been looking a lot into who to attract for the hospital here in Cedar Falls. And I appreciate the opportunity from the council and all the other officials that are involved in that. As I look around at what we currently have over on Bluebell, kind of where Rosemary is talking about, we just put a new $35,000 sidewalk in there, which is actually ending up attaching to nothing. And I don't know if that's one of the things that we're kind of discussing here, but the bill did go to Mercy One, Trinity. I guess Trinity was the new purchase that happened like on 23, January or February of early 23. So also there's a lot of landscaping that has also been put into that area. So we're beefing up that section, trying to attract and put together a team that's really excited about coming into Cedar Falls to kind of take over our healthcare system and looking at amenities. I'm kind of attacking this in many different ways, and part of that is going back from when I was coaching. You have to go out and you have to scout everything else, and you have to understand what a level 3 hospital is versus a level 1 trauma, what kind of overhead, what kind of net loss some of these hospitals are experiencing. And it's very complex, but I'm really trying to dive in. I'm really trying to make sure that we cross the T's, dot the I's, and get the best reputable person a letter so that we can entertain them coming into our community. We're also considering taking a look at some of the care facilities. I'd rather have it be a hospital because in the book, The Legacy of Sartori, the status of that should be just about as pure as if it's an Indian reservation preservation site. And that's what the site location is. It should hunker it down. No lawyer can ever change the usage of what a hospital site is ever to be. It goes back to our surrounding communities and why those particular sites are chosen for first response emergencies. I've traveled to Hardin County, or to Franklin County, kind of took a look at what a Trinity Hospital Level 3 looks like for their surrounding communities. I have not yet gone to Decorah to entertain and look at what Mayo looks like, but we need specialists here. We need a hospital. We need potentially the 1015 location on Division Street to be a futuristic portion of the hospital. If we can get Mayo Clinic, we already have a track, we can get an overpass, We can have PT, we can have any kind of orthopedic. We could use a Sartori Foundation monies, which I do have a question. Dave Sires once had asked where the $121 million from the Sartori fund went, and I'm just not sure. I've gone to some of the Sartori Foundation meetings, but kind of knowing if we still have a balance of about $121 million might be some good information, to pass on to some of these other companies that we're thinking about entertaining and seeing what they would want to do for their future. Looking at Waverly Hospital, city-owned. Talked to some of the doctors. The doctors are like, we would love to have our own community hospital here. We could be in charge of things, and it would be something that we could look at in the future. We have 515 College Street. We have 1015 Division. We have 5 points of entrance at Sartori. It's very sketchy what's happening on College Street. It's about a 20-minute walk to the university, so our new College of Education and nursing is going to be fabulous. Although when I was at Blackhawk County Online, I did notice that we had some parcel changes, and then I did notice that those kind of came back where we were looking at potentially from 5th Street and 6th to do some subdivisions along with that little park. I'm not sure where this particular status sits at this point, but I hope it doesn't go anywhere while we're still, because I really hate to be a coach of this and then have someone throw the rug underneath me and say, oh, by the way, Cedar Falls doesn't need a hospital.
Time.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kim. And anyone else for public comment tonight, please? All right, seeing none, we will now move on to staff updates. I believe we've got Director Birdie.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. I just want to make a little announcement about National Night Out. And National Night Out is an annual community building campaign to promote police and community partnerships. It's taking place tomorrow night at the Public Safety Facility at 4600 South Main. We'll have police and public safety staff there. We'll have vehicles and equipment, the equipment that we use to serve the community. Some of our partners will be there, UNI Police, Blackhawk County Dispatch, Mercy One Paramedics. And our mayor will be there in a dunk tank, so bring your cash to help raise money for a good cause.
Speedos.
But again, that's
Please
tomorrow
do.
night from 4:30 to 7.
The Speedo might not.
There's a simple meal provided by Fairway, Scratch Cupcakes, Starbucks, so it's always a good event, and just park anywhere there around Bluebell, Fairway, that whole area. So it's out at our facility tomorrow night.
Thank you, Director Birdie. We
Mr.
might put
Mayor?
ice in the dunk tank.
One more
Yeah, go for it.
from Director Sheet.
And then an announcement about the falls. The falls will be open through August 18th. That is the last day it will be open. And Doggy Dip will be on August 19th. So maybe we'll wrap up the council meeting and make it over there from 6 to 8 p.m. on the 19th.
We can take that challenge. And I had someone ask, is it open to anyone, not just Cedar Falls residents? Someone did ask as a non-resident.
Yes, it is $5 for one owner and one pet, and anybody. I think it's cash payment, and it does say on the website that licensed pets are allowed.
Thank you, Director Sheets. All right, moving on to special order of business. Item number 2, public hearing on the proposed plan, specification, form of contract, and estimate of costs for the Viking Road and Prairie Parkway intersection improvements. We have a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Madam Clerk, any written communications?
I have no written communications on file.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And then we have a staff comments from Ben Claypool. Doctor?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Tonight's public hearing is for the Viking Road and Prairie Parkway Intersection Improvements Project. This project generally consists of the installation of a new roundabout at the intersection of Viking Road and Prairie Parkway. It's currently in a T intersection configuration with the southbound leg of that intersection being stop controlled. Included in this reconstruction is new storm sewer and landscaping within the roundabout's center island, as well as new sidewalk along the southern edge of Viking Road from the Cedar Prairie Trail, that's behind like the Jimmy John's and Crumble Cookie Outlet Center there, all the way east to the new roundabout. In addition, raised medians will be installed from this proposed roundabout westward to Andrea Drive, continuing the boulevard section and appearance of the Viking Road corridor. The total estimated cost for the construction of this project is $2,532,090, and the project will be funded by the Pinnacle Prairie Tax Increment Financing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And then do we have any public comments on this item, please? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and looking for a resolution or a motion to approve and adopt the plan, specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the Viking Road and Prairie Parkway
So moved.
improvements.
Second.
A motion and seconded and open for any council discussion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
If I may, Mr. Claypool, I would love to see if we already have some idea of what the monument cost is going to be, and then I also wanted to mention the electrical and lighting. It looks like we're shooting for 11,000 on that. Is that going to be the same kind of lighting that we have on the existing roundabouts, Stone?
That'd be correct. You're talking about, the landscaping lighting, not the street lighting?
Correct.
Correct. Just give me a moment. I can't remember
Yeah,
if it's a
just the
small-
last three items on the estimate.
The type of lighting, Mr. Ganfield, is different than the upland lighting. It's actually backlit lettering.
Okay.
So it's different. I can't refer to the cost. Ben can.
That's one concern that is wonderfully addressed. Thank you for that update. And I think the monument was the other concern. Mr. Claypool, do we have an idea of what that $155,000 for the monument is going to be yet?
Like what the roundabout landscaping is?
I'm just seeing a line item for $155,000. It says monuments.
Yeah, so within the central roundabout, there will be a concrete, a small kind of concrete footing wall with a brick veneer along the outer edge of it, and then the street names on the outside of it.
That's not a special, like we have
Oh,
campanile or anything.
no,
that's
sorry,
just the
it's
actual-
within the entire circle, it's kind of a weaving wall.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Pitch a statue of myself, but
You heard it here first, folks.
In the dump.
If we can find a sculptor these days. I don't know.
go ahead.
Thank you. You mentioned the funding is going to be from the, what's the name of the account again?
The TIF, Pinnacle Prairie.
Yeah. Does that use up a considerable amount of it, or is it replenishing enough that we don't run short for other projects with that amount of money coming out of it?
That's a great question. I wouldn't be privy to it. Perhaps Jennifer would.
Phone a friend.
I think she's pulling up documents.
No, I thought I might had the Prairie Parkway TIF with me, but I don't. But, we have not utilized our full increment that for many years at the Pinnacle Prairie, so we should be good here. Now, obviously, as we use it and there's other projects down the road, then this does take away perhaps from other projects, but we have not always used our full capacity there.
Okay, that's all I have.
Other council questions, comments, discussion?
Mr. Mayor, before we vote, I think we should probably close the public hearing.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
I thought,
You just assume I screwed it up?
no.
Immediately someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I
Apologize for interrupting.
That's what I have you there for. Thank you, Kevin. All right, so we've got a motion and a second, and requires a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Move on to old business. Item number 3, pass ordinance number 3071, amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to Controller, City Treasurer, Information Systems Manager, City Clerk, appointment, powers, and duties of City Attorney, appointment, powers, and duties of Human Resources Manager, Planning and Community Services Manager, Building Official, Manager of Operations and Maintenance, City Engineer, and Water Reclamation Manager upon its third and final consideration. Motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Any discussion from council?
Mr. Mayor, I didn't catch that. Could you read it one more time?
Yes, so pass
Totally
ordinance.
kidding. Totally kidding.
I will do it if you ask. I'm here to serve. Any discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, requires a roll call vote, please. I practiced this at home.
Not a single flub. Good.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 4, pass ordinance number 3072, amending Chapter 17, Parks and Recreation of the Code of Ordinances relative to public events on city property upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion?
So move. Second.
And seconded. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, any from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 5, pass ordinance number 3073, amending Chapter 23, Traffic and Motor Vehicles of the Code of Ordinances relative to parking prohibited on public streets or on specific streets upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And seconded. And any discussion? And any from the public?
Kim Jensen Jordan again. I'm really concerned with Main Street. I was always, when we grew up, we were told, do not ride your bicycle on the road. You know, we've got trails. I noticed
Check
that,
quick, is this related to the parking?
well, this
Anything
is
within the-
about the parking, correct.
'Kay.
Because the bike trails are also serving as a parking space, like down by the churches and by Richardson's funeral home, and also along the post office. And it just seems like we used to have 4 lanes of traffic down Main Street, and now we've got 2 with a middle turn lane, which kind of goes back to Rosemary's concern, like you get halfway through, you're stuck, and then you're like, what do I do next? And we've got these roundabouts with all this art that's going in, and the parking is an extra distraction, you know, as you're riding your bike and you've got
And this
something.
is, just to clarify quick, if I can.
On Main
This
Street
is relevant just to the code?
Well, I think if we look at codes and we're thinking about healthcare and accidentals, I'm trying to be broad picture. As I'm looking at this whole hospital thing, it involves
Sorry, Kim, I'm
everything
going
from
to
public
cut you
safety.
off there. That
Okay.
It's not relevant.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Any other discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 6, pass ordinance number 3074, amending Chapter 26, zoning of the Code of Ordinances relative to resident district upon its third and final consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion seconded, and any discussion? And any from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll now move to the consent calendar. So the following items will be acted upon by a voice vote on a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately. Are there any item requests from the consent calendar for council? Or any from the public? All right, seeing none, we'll be looking for a motion to approve items 7 through 11 of the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, and requires a voice vote. So all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Now we'll move to the resolution calendar. So the following items will be acted upon by a roll call vote on a single motion without separate discussion unless someone from the council or public requests that a specific item be considered separately.
Mr. Mayor.
Any from council?
21.
20 and 21?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other from council?
I'm sorry, was that 20 and 21?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And any from the public? All right, so we'll look for a motion to approve items 12 through 33, excluding items 20 and 21.
So moved. Second.
A motion and seconded, and requires a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So item number 20 is a resolution approving and authorizing execution of an offer to buy real estate and acceptance for 4.15 acres of real estate located at 4109 West First Street relative to safety improvements at the Highway 57 and Union Road construction. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
A motion seconded and discussion from council.
Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Go ahead.
So I kind of pulled these both together because it's relating to, the intersection there we want to improve. If, the predominance of this is coming from the DOT or city 50/50, but at what point do we notify all the property owners at that intersection for any effect on their property? Because here we're buying a location on the northwest corner. We have other property owners on the other three corners that are saying they didn't necessarily know about whether their land would be acquired, and we're watching a piece get acquired here. So can you elaborate on a high-level overview of what's going to happen the rest of the year and coming to determine how much of the other corners might be acquired, if any? It's kind of a big sentence.
Sure. So we haven't even had a kickoff meeting with the DOT. That's actually happening this week for the project. Tentative construction timeline would be 2026. So from now, over the next 6 months, consultant will be working on design. And then at some point in the future, you'll have a public hearing on the need for right-of-way acquisition. It'll come before the council with a strip map of impacts to potential other adjacent properties. So right after that point is when the property owners would be notified, and we would also have a public meeting that they would be notified for as well.
And if I can just add to it quick, Daryl, that's okay. Can you just explain kind of why this specific property was outreached to kind of ahead of that process?
Some of you may recall approximately a year ago when we heavily looked into this intersection with the DOT. Past history has been DOT kind of has been reluctant to pursue any improvements located at this intersection. I worked with them at that time to have it placed in their program with some shared funding with the city. We were approached by that specific property owner, concerns with proximity of, if you recall, that quadrant of the intersection has very limited right-of-way and will have a heavy impact for the intersection improvement. So that kind of stemmed the discussion initially with that property owner.
I think one of the other things to point out with the purchase of this property is also the shifting of the roundabout that'll be to that northwest quadrant to have less impacts on the other three quadrants.
So if a current property owner of one of the other three corners wants to find out roughly what might be taken, can they be given an estimate at this point?
We wouldn't know the geometry of the roundabout until we get it fit in there. If this property were to be purchased, we would limit the property impacts on the south side of the intersection, both east and west.
Part of a solution to, okay. Okay, no further questions, Mr. Mayor.
Any other discussion from council? All right, seeing none, any from the public?
Okay.
Name and city, quick.
Kim Jensen, Jordan, Cedar Falls. As I'm working again with looking at that intersection and talking with different people from Franklin County and just people in general, have we done any surveys with surrounding communities to find out what they think of Cedar Falls with our roundabouts that we're putting into our city, either positive or negative? Growing up, we used to have a yellow flashing light, and I'm not quite sure why or what discussion may have happened with Mr. Gaines and Mr. Sires and Mr. Schragi when we had the horrible accident with Saratovia. But I do have a neighbor in my neighborhood that is a civil engineer, and usually road work does take a little bit more, like 7 years to really look at. And there is the expansion that's happening on 218 just south of Waverly. And there is a little discussion that some of the further down Union Road people have been told that there will be a connection at some point to Highway 20, potentially on Union. I don't know if our city has looked at that as a little beep out there, but if civil engineers are saying that it does take at least 7 years for infrastructure like that, we might need to kind of look. What about rumble strips? As I've been driving to Red Wing and looking at the hospital system up there, that was a private hospital system acquired by Mayo. Similar situation. We don't have the roundabouts leading into that, but we do have the protection to surrounding communities. We also need to be discussing how we're going to service New Hartford, Parkersburg, Applington, Ackley, Stout, Allison, as they come in from the west during our construction in 26 and 27. If they have to go a mile south or north onto Beaver Valley and then come back in, what kind of destination and service time. If we're having a stroke out there, it's 30 minutes. They need to have access to a point hospital. And we don't want to deny anyone and put patients into, and accidentals into jeopardy.
About property acquisition.
And the property acquisition. I mean, this is all part of the deal. It's things that we have to be looking at, and that's part of coaching and trying to find and form a team to really get a new hospital system in there.
We can keep this to the roundabout.
Okay, so roundabout, we need to look at how many community members maybe don't come here because of our roundabouts. And then, do we over-landscape them? Are we spending way too much on things that really don't need to be in there? And being fiscally responsible for people so that we have taxation with representation instead of no representation. Thank you.
Any other public comment for this item tonight? All right, seeing none, requires a roll call vote for item number 20, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And item number 21, resolution approving and authorizing execution of an application for site-specific traffic safety improvement program, TSIP funding with the Iowa Department of Transportation relative to the Highway 57 and Union Road intersection improvements project. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move. Second.
And seconded, and discussion from council.
I just pulled it in case it lapped over.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. And seeing none from council, any from the public? All right, seeing none, look for a roll call vote then for item number 21.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Move on to ordinances. Item number 34, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to salary of members and salary of the mayor upon its first consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion from council? And any from the public? Seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 35, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Administration of the Code of Ordinances relative to oath, bond, and powers and duties, bond upon its first consideration. Do we have a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion from council? And any from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 36, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 16, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions of the Code of Ordinances relative to discharge of weapons upon its first consideration.
So moved.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, did you get those? Okay. And any discussion from council? And any from the public? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 37, pass an ordinance amending Chapter 24, Utilities of the Code of Ordinances relative to applicability, definitions, and requirements for approval of stormwater management plan upon its first consideration. Do a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
And motion second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
As I recall, this Senate File 455 took 2 years, maybe longer, to go through the legislative process. It seems that the changes here are very simplistic. Are there more coming to get us up to speed with the results and intent of 455?
None that I know of. I know it was proposed last year and did not pass. It has very small effect on our current ordinance.
Okay.
It's basically the release rate in which they release off their site.
Can you elaborate on it looked like it releases it slower, or 5-year instead of 2-year?
So actually, it would release it slightly faster at the 5-year rate rather than the 2-year rate.
So can you explain that? Your rate?
No, to the general public, no one would know the difference.
Okay.
It's basically the outlet pipe from the storm facilities. And then there's a small change to the when they're developing their detention basin sizing requirements. They used to have to follow what the pre-existing natural native land would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can use what it currently is at today. If it's already developed and has a bunch of impervious area, that's the coefficient rates that they use when they do the design.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yep.
if I may, Director Schrage, that just brings up a point. Is there any change or impediment to existing properties where this makes the difficulty that they're going to have to change their infrastructure?
I do not believe so. It's not retroactive. It won't go back on those.
Mr. Mayor.
I mean, isn't an ordinance the law?
It's only, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, go ahead.
I'm assuming that if somebody redeveloped the property, then this applies if it's over
Only when they
50%
disturb.
of the value or something to that effect?
That is correct.
Okay. So it may or may not be triggered for, well, it'd be more lenient, basically. Okay.
I just add that the statutory change was not retroactive, so we didn't have to also go retroactive.
Okay.
Any other
No
discussion?
further questions for me.
All right, and any discussion from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote for item 37, please.
I think there
Yep.
was a question over here from the back.
Yep, feel free to come up. Just name and city, please.
Denzel, Cedar Falls,
And last name, too, if you could. Sure.
Washington.
Okay,
Looking at 37, I was just looking through, it's like I can't read through these fast enough, but 37, we've already voted on 36, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, then that was actually my main concern. 37 seems pretty important, but 36 was more of my interest, but that's fine.
And I can touch base with you afterwards, too, or something, if you've got questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Can I just, for overview, point out that all of this information is posted the Wednesday prior to the council meeting? You can dig into it, because obviously, if you know, it's a lot to read through. So, just so you know.
And Mr. Mayor, a reminder too that this will get read 2 more times, so you didn't miss your opportunity to ask your question if you wanted to ask it publicly.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. We will have 2 more readings, so at the next meeting and then the one after, we'll be able to have comment on it, too.
Or you can reach out in between time.
Yep.
to the staff.
All right, any other discussion? All right, so we have a roll call vote for item 37, please. I think you've already got it.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to item 38, allow bills and claims. Do we have a motion to allow bills and claims for August 5th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Motion is seconded, and any discussion? And any from the public? All right, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
All members voting aye, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any council updates or announcements for this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I have just one announcement. I think this past week wrapped up the 103rd Annual Cedar Falls Bible Conference out here at Riverview Ministries, and I do believe there were some record-setting attendance numbers, and that is fantastic material for our community. All of their sessions are posted on their YouTube channel as well for anybody that wants to take a look at it. But fantastic facility. They're doing some improvements this next year as well. So for any members of the public that didn't get a chance to, my wife and I had vacations scheduled around this week in the past, and we decided this week to make sure that we made it a point, and it was enriching time for my family. So just to encourage others that may want to participate in the 104th or other opportunities to reach out to Riverview Ministries either directly or on their YouTube.
Thank you, Councilor Greenfield. Any other council updates or announcements? All right, seeing none, any council referrals? Do I have any written ones? Any pressing? All right, all seeing none, we will then motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
And seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.